Okay, so this is going to be my review on the new Avengers Transformers crossover. This came out 2007, right when Spider-Man 3 and Transformers 1 was coming out. So I guess Marvel and IDW wanted to cash in on some of the money. So they decided to do a crossover, and this is why I say Marvel might do, keyword might, do a X-Men Transformers crossover, which would be uber epic in my opinion, since, X-Men First Class is coming out in Transformers 3, so I'm hoping, they'll be like, dude, let's do another crossover with X-Men and Transformers. Yeah. So this marks, I believe, the first Marvel IDW crossover as well. And this is also another time where the Transformers have crossed over with somebody other than the G.I. Joes. So this was more or less interesting because no one expected the Transformers to meet the Avengers. It's out in trade. You can probably find it in trade. I actually got it in paperback. Paperback's actually cheaper than most Marvel stuff. Yeah, this is actually incredibly cheap from a Marvel book, because Marvel really likes to overprice their shit. It's $10.99. $10.99 was the price I got it, so maybe you're probably going to pay about $11, $12, depending on where you live. $13 at max, probably. This also, in Canada, it's $17.75, so sorry, Canadians. But yeah, the writer of this story is Stuart Moore. Stuart Moore wrote this story. Art is by Tyler Kirkman. He did the pencils. Sal Regal did the inks. Colorist is Anita Karuk. I don't know how to say her last name. With blonde. Okay. And letterer was Todd Klein. All right. The covers were done by... I'm going to run through all this real quick. Covers were done by Jim Kuhn. I hope I'm saying that right. Jason Pearson, and Ed McGuinness, and Tom Rainey. So yeah, they had different artists on each cover of the opening covers. Yeah. Alright, so this crossover, first off, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. This wasn't a great crossover, but it wasn't a good crossover. It was just, in my opinion, there. It does feel like a cash cow at some points, just having the Avengers and Transformers together, and I think that's why a lot of people like is having the Transformers meet the Avengers was just a cool idea. I think that's a cool idea. But anyway, on to the story. The story is basically let me say right now that this takes place in New Avengers continuity, where this takes place before Civil War. Like, this is on right before everything that happens to Civil War. The New Avengers are still together. This is before where Steve Rogers is still Captain America in here. This happens before Death of Captain America, so yeah, that's the only time the continuity works. But yeah, apparently this also I should mention that this Transformers line, I should also mention that the Transformers in here are not like the one. This is more IDW continuity, which is incredibly confusing. They have so many Transformers comics out, it is not even funny. But apparently it takes place between, because this is not the IDW does a big change with the original '80s Transformers. They do a lot of changing around in here. This apparently, from what I understand and what I've learned from the backup, this takes place before, in the IDW comics of Transformers, this takes in between of these two story arcs on Infiltration and Remains. I think that's the name of the story arc. I can't remember, but it was in between Infiltration and something else. Now let me move on to the lineup. Now the lineup of the Avengers... Well, hang on, let me get to the story before I move on to the lineup. The story is the Avengers led by Captain America. The team on the Avengers side is Captain America, Wolverine, Luke Cage, Spider-Man. But Iron Man, Falcon, and Ms. Marvel show up also in this story. and then they sneak into Latveria because for some reason Latveria is committing a war on this other country called Symkaria. Now, Symkaria hasn't really been talked about a lot in Marvel comic continuity, and that's, for those who don't know, that's the home of Silver Sable, she and her Wild Pack. And Symkaria has given has said that in 24 hours, if Latveria doesn't stop, we're going to commit nuclear war on them. And so the Avengers are trying to figure out what Doom's angle is, and they come across a machine that a strange machine that has a bunch of Doom bots destroyed around it. So they sneak inside, and for some reason it's causing, aggression. It's causing a spiked level of aggression in the team. And while this is going on, the Autobots are watching the situation, and the Autobot lineup is, one moment, gotta think back on this. It's Optimus Prime, Optimus Prime, Prowl, Bumblebee, Ratchet, Jazz, and Wheeljack. However, I gotta say right now, Wheeljack doesn't do anything. You see him in the first issue, and they mention him at the end, but that's about it. Wheeljack does nothing else. And Jazz is in here. Jazz, Ratchet, Bumblebee, and Prowl, and Optimus. You don't see the other Autobots. You don't see any of the others. And also, I gotta say that this is not, once again, this is not 80s cartoon continuity. This is IDW comic continuity Transformers. Now, the aggression wave also takes over their minds, and when the Autobots show up, but hang on, I skipped a moment. Because, for some reason, the Decepticons are in Latveria, and they want to start this war so they can harvest the Energon while this war's going on. And also, they kidnap Spider-Man to take his powers. Yeah, ain't that weird? They assimilate his abilities into themselves, meaning they get stronger. I don't know how the Decepticons get stronger from Spider-Man, but who knows. So anyway, getting back to what I was, because I totally skipped a page, but the Autobots show up, and the Avengers, who are already high on, aggression, attack the Autobots. And then it turns into this whole team battle, which is poorly choreographed, by the way. And it turns into one of those, I don't know, it becomes one of those misunderstanding battles. And here's where Optimus says something like, remember, he like tells the Autobots before they attack the Avengers, it's like, remember, no killing unless absolutely necessary. But I don't really think Optimus would even say unless absolutely necessary. I don't know. But yeah, from there, the comic book, there are some points where hokey, or they're just kind of dumb. Like, I'll go ahead and say it right now. In this comic book, Iron Man wears this giant suit of armor. Like, it's Transformer size. It is Transformer size armor. It doesn't transform, but it's there. Great. Yeah, I know. And here's one thing that pisses me off with, and it's such a badly written line that Tony says. In fact, I will read it to you about what he says about the Autobots. With my interest in tech, I've been monitoring rumors for some time of extraterrestrial robots living covertly among us. This confirms it. What? What? You mean to tell me? And this is what pissed me off when I read that line. It was like, really? You think that would have been something, Steve and the rest of them would like to know? Like, we've got giant robots alien robots who can transform into any vehicle living among us. Wouldn't that have been something you would have liked to mention? Or, I don't even think he mentioned that in the Illuminati group, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's still in the Illuminati group. I don't even... What? Whatever, it made my head hurt. And in fact, the Decepticon lineup, the only few Decepticons that are in here, the Decepticons who are in here is just kind of a mashup of, just a weird mashup of characters. Now, first off, I'd like to say that Starscream and Soundwave are not part of the Decepticon group. Skywarp and Thundercracker, they are. Those are the only two recognizable Autobot. Oh yeah, Thrust too. I think yeah, Thrust is part of the group too. Oh wait, here's the lineup: Runamuck and Runabout, who I'm pretty sure I have no clue because they're such small. Oh, Blitzwing. Blitzwing's a part of this. Thundercracker, Skywarp. So that's about it. That's really all the only... Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't Thrust, it was Ramjet. I have no clue how some of these Decepticons are. I mean, it wouldn't have killed them to put in, you know, freaking Starscream or Soundwave, but then again, like I said, this is IDW continuity, but if they were going for they said in the even in the description, some of your favorite Autobots and Decepticons. The only fan favorite Decepticon on the group was Megatron. The story in itself is not bad, and like I said, if you're looking for just a book to have both the Transformers and meet the Avengers, is a cool idea. I mean, Doctor Doom's in here too, but you know, if you're a die-hard IDW comic book fan, I read a lot of the IDW Transformer books, but only a large amount because the continuity is just so weird in IDW Transformer IDW universe. It's really really hard to follow because there's so many titles. So it's really hard to follow. Like I've read All Hail Megatron and you know The War Within and some of the Beast War stuff. And there were a couple more Transformer IDW books, but like I said, this is not 80s continuity Transformers. This is IDW continuity. So yeah. It's not a bad book, but people are gonna have some problems with it. I can already tell you guys, people are gonna have this problem. I'm gonna give this this book a 3 out of 5. It's an okay crossover. I still say I'd like to see a sequel to this because it leaves off on a sequel, and I'd like to see more fan favorite Autobots and Decepticons. I'd really like to see, and I was really hoping they'd do some stuff in here. Excuse me. If they would do some cool stuff in here, like I'd really like to see. I would have really enjoyed a conversation between Steve Rogers and Optimus Prime. I think those two would have a really cool conversation, and I was kind of hoping of like a cool conversation between Doom and Megatron, but we don't get that. But you know, I'm hoping if they do a sequel, because they leave it off for a sequel, but who knows. This is not a must-get crossover, but if you are a fan of the Avengers, especially the new Avengers lineup where it had Steve and all of them, and before, you know, this takes, like I said, it takes place before Civil War, so that's a good jumping-on point, before it got all crazy. And if you do want to see characters like Luke Cage actually shines a lot in this book. He does a lot. Him, Spider-Man, and Wolverine are the Avengers who do the most. Iron Man does too, but everyone else is just in there. But the 4 Avengers who do the most is Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Luke Cage and Iron Man. They do the most. Captain America does some stuff, but not a lot. The same thing goes. The book really shines on Bumblebee and Ratchet the most for Autobots. Optimus Prime does some stuff. He talks a lot in here, and the Decepticon, of course, that it shines the most on is Megatron. But all in all, it's not a bad crossover. It's not a good crossover. But if you like the idea of like I said, Marvel characters meeting Transformers, like me, this was a fanboy dream for me, and it's an okay comic. I can't hate it, but I can't love it either. It's just I like it. It's a okay crossover, and you're not really spending a lot of money. Like I said, it's $10.99 here in the U.S., so you're not really having a big financial loss. And you're probably getting you're more or less, you're probably getting your money's worth with this book of $10.99. You're getting your money's worth, basically. But, yeah, I've pretty much said everything I need to say about this book. But you guys, hopefully some of you guys really like the idea, and maybe you guys can check it out. It's probably cheaper online as well. It's a lot. I've looked, and it's a lot cheaper on Amazon. It's probably like, what, $7-8.99 or something like... It's somewhere in the $7 or $8, but... Yeah, this is an okay crossover.